Jay Crowder suddenly rips off 13 straight points, and I think we have a tape of these points. This saved the season. It maybe saved Chris's legacy, Chris Paul's, because this is all Jay Crowder. They get the offensive rebound, Ayton does, and says, give it back to me, I got this, and that gave him a 3-point lead. And then here we go again, and he's up and under. That was a sweet inbounds play, and now they're up 6. And then here we go again. Jay Crowder makes the free throws, and that puts them up 8. And then with 2:13 left in the half, here we go again. Guess who? From 3. When that went in, I said, oh, my God, because that put him up 9.
I said y'all might be in trouble.
I know. And then here they cut it back again, and he makes one last 3 at the end of the half. That's with 25 seconds left to put them up 9 at half. And even for the Clippers, that felt like a hole too big to climb out of. So they tried to be the Clippers again in the third quarter. And with a minute 43 left in the third, finally Batum strokes a 3 that cut it to 7, which finally felt maybe doable. I still had big doubts, but maybe doable. And Chris Paul took over in ways I'm not sure he's ever taken over.
No.
I don't think he's ever played a greater playoff game than this.
No. I'm not so sure, Skip. This might be his crowning achievement as far as games. Now, he might have had more points or more assists in a game, but a game of this magnitude, Skip, you know there's added significance to a playoff game. And the deeper you go, the more the greater the significance is. And I was like, man, here they come again. They finna do this again. They finna come back, spot them all. The Clippers had this big lead just like the other day, Skip. Remember what, that Saturday they had this big lead, and they end up getting walked down, and I was like, ah, man, here we go again. But Chris Paul said, no, I'm not going to let this happen on my watch. And big shot after big shot, be it the 3, Skip. He didn't just settle for the 3. When they hugged up on him, he went by people.
And as he told Rachel Nichols after the game, his only thought at that point was, I'm not going to lose. Because he just can't lose. He's lost too much. I've got to do this. Because it is one of those moments where it seems like the stars have aligned. Obviously, he caught the Lakers without AD, right? I mean, LeBron might have been not quite LeBron. And then, for that matter, he caught Denver without Jamal Murray. And then he caught these guys without Kawhi, and then Big Zoo, and there's no Serge Ibaka. And so it seemed like you better not lose this one.
You can't leave now. This would have been basically a death blow to Chris Paul because everything had lined up. You get the Lakers, they're injured. You get the Nuggets, they're injured. You get the Clippers, and they're really injured. But Skip, early in that ball game, that's a small team. And what do? Ayton feasted. Go inside. Punish Marcus Morris. Punish those little dudes inside. I mean, why you trying to shoot jumpers? Don't worry about no jumpers. You got a 7-footer on a 6'9". Make them pay.
I agree.
They made them pay early. Then all of a sudden, Devin Booker hit a few shots. But I thought getting off, just like the Clippers did 2 nights ago, got off to that fast first quarter, made them play catch up for the rest of the game. The Suns got off to that fast start. Drake, 36 points in the first quarter. I was all a little concerned, Skip, because Boogie hit that shot off the glass with 3. I was like, you know what? But Chris Paul, Skip, Chris Paul was special last night. I mean, and to follow that up after what Paul George did just 2 nights earlier, to follow that up and say, you know what, PG? I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to do this in a closeout game.
Paul George went 41, 13, and 6. Okay? And so he said, well, I'll
get you 41. Yeah, I'll see you 41. Now, we didn't expect him to get a whole bunch of rebounds, especially when you got Ayton gobbling up everything underneath. But, Skip, another 8 assists and 0 turnovers. He was very good with the basketball last night, and anybody that wanted something could get it.
So, anyway, to finish off what happened when it got cut to 7, if we could just see what Chris Paul started doing. Listen, this is obsessed, or possessed. This is where you're just out of your mind. They just dared him to shoot that, and he just stroked it like a free throw.
You can't leave guys like that. See, that's what I knew he had to go with.
Left-handed finger roll layup, okay? That's just too good. And then this one, this is Chris Paul, who was 0 for his last 9 in the previous 2 games, just shooting it like it was a free throw. And when he made that one, I said, okay, that's just too good. And he proceeds, to your point, that was 8 points down the stretch. And then he scores 19 in the fourth quarter, and it's like he was just pouring it on because he wanted to take it all back out on Pat Bev and the Clippers. And once upon a time, he was a Clipper, obviously, and he knows Billy Crystal, who's sitting courtside.
Yeah, gave him a hug after the game.
Gave him a hug, and he knows all the personnel around the arena.
Right.
So it's his home away from home. So all that, it was perfect for him to finish it off there in that building.
Because he spent 6 years there, because he spent 2 in Houston, that's 8, 1 now with OKC, that's 9, 1 here, 10. So he spent, Skip, as many years as he did in New Orleans. So sure, he's very familiar. But this was a special performance. I didn't see it coming, Skip. Now, I knew he had this in him because we had just saw him go for 37 against the Nuggets. But he had played well throughout the entire series against the Nuggets. That's why they swept him.
That is
Considering he hadn't played well in the 3 games since he'd been back, I'd have been there. I'll guarantee you, no one saw this coming from Chris Paul. Not this type of performance. If somebody said, okay, he might get us 25, 28, they win the ball game because a book gives you 25 to 30. DeAndre Ayton's going to do what he's been doing. Okay, but Skip, 41 on 16 to 24. The dude went 10. He and D Book went 10 or 40, and then they went 12 or 14 or 44, 12 or 44. So it wasn't like he'd been shooting good this entire series because he had not. Last night was a special performance, and we've seen, Skip, I know the injuries have kind of dampened the playoffs a little bit, and all the big names hadn't been there, but we've seen some very special performances.
Have we?
This playoff. We saw Dame drop 55 in a loss. We saw what KD did. We've seen what Giannis has done. We've Chris Paul, Devin Booker. There have been some Kawhi, Paul George, Donovan Mitchell. There have been some very, very special performances in these playoffs.
Okay, so final analysis, final thought on my Los Angeles Clippers. I do agree with Ty Lue, who said we just ran out of gas. But the main guy who ran out of gas was the main guy, and that's Paul George. And he was not, I'm not going to say he was pandemic P last night. He just wasn't playoff P. I believe he was resting on his laurels for that game we just talked about, which was the previous game of 41-13-6. He did come into this game having played 130 more playoff minutes than any other player in the playoffs, 150 more minutes than anybody on his own team, who was Reggie Jackson. And I thought from the start last night, split the double team and get into the lane like he was in the previous game. So I think he thought in his heart of hearts, I've done enough here. I'll just do the best I can tonight, which obviously, as he said, my good wasn't enough. Well, no, it's not good. No. Your numbers are, can we say they're good? I guess you could say they're decent.
No, they're not, Skip.
I mean, 21 and
but Skip, he only hit 2 more shots than he had turnovers.
21 and 9, okay? And he became a turnover machine slowly but surely through these last 3 games.
Yes. Okay? And that was the thing, Skip. Look, Paul George, like most of these professional basketball players, are rhythm guys. So what you try to do is disrupt their rhythm early and then make them question themselves late. Well, if you let Paul George, you let anybody get a rhythm, once that happens, it doesn't matter what you throw at them.
I agree.
They've seen the ball go in the basket a couple of times.
So to me, I didn't see Paul George shoot 1 shot last night like he meant it, like he believed it was going in.
It seemed like he was shooting hoping it goes in.
I agree. And Chris Paul was shooting every shot like he knew it or he was going to will it.
Yeah, he was bullseye. He's like, yeah, that was good.
Okay, that's good. Like I'm going to force it through the hoop. Like I'm going to, on sheer will. Okay, so in the end, I do congratulate the Clippers on a great run without Kawhi Leonard because they didn't have their best player.
Yeah, but look, and that's what... Sometimes it's what happens. If you look at a lot of runs, it happens when injuries befall the other team, and that's throughout history. So this is not, I'm not putting if the Suns win the title, I'm not putting an asterisk by, well, they dodged a bullet with the Lakers, they were hurt, and they dodged a bullet with the Nuggets because Jamal Murray, they dodged a bullet with no Kawhi and no Zubas and Serge Ibaka. I don't want to hear that because that's happened over the course of time. You go back and look, somebody's got hurt. Kawhi won a title. Because Clay and KD.
You're right.
Steph's first title.
He also won a title because Embiid was sick and hurt and sick and hurt and sick and hurt, right?
Yeah. Okay. Steph and Clay. Because Kyrie and Kevin Love, it happens. Well.
It happens. But in the end, I want to congratulate Chris Paul on a virtuoso of an all-time performance.
The Valley. We're in the Valley. Valley, Skip. Playoff P, Master P, Suns in 6.
You're already making the call?
Do you realize what a hypocrite you look like holding up that jersey?
No, what I do now?
You wanted his minutes diminished.
No. I wanted, but when Campaign came in there and pushed that pace, what happened, Skip?
Yeah.
You saw it. You saw what happened.
Okay, well, I am really looking forward to Lil Wayne joining the show later because he was there. He's got a lot to talk about with Chris Paul. Oh, and by the way, we haven't talked about Pat